Hello once again. We are still talking about river valley civilizations, and today we're going to talk about the Indus Valley Civilization. If you're looking at a world map, find India, find out South Asia, and go west until you run into Pakistan. Right there in that area, that's kind of where you're going to find the Indus Valley. The Indus River is still there today, and that is the location of this ancient river valley civilization. Geographic barriers impacting this civilization, of course, mountains to the north, the Himalayas, as they're referred to today, very high mountains there, and the Arabian Sea to the south. These geographic features are going to have not only protections for them when it comes for outsiders, impacting them to a degree, it's also going to have some weather patterns. Winds known as monsoons, which really flow in either direction. Half the year they're coming off the land, and there's going to be very dry air, and then the other half of the year very wet air off the water. This is the rainy season, which we often refer to as monsoons as a rain season, but really monsoons are the winds that create that. Names of identification, this is either called the Indus Valley Civilization, or sometimes they'll refer to as Harappa here, which is the name of one of the cities which has been discovered through archaeological digs along the city. And through those archaeological digs in places like Mohenjo-Daro and other sites, as many as 1,500 other sites, I believe, have been found in this area. This was pretty expansive. This is a very large civilization. These cities were really big. Thousands of people would live there, and they would. These were very planned cities, we can tell, because of the sophistication and how the streets were arranged, the buildings, the height of the buildings, how the buildings interacted with the winds to create almost an air conditioning feel, we understand. All the bricks were the same size, so uniformity there shows us that there was a great deal of control over how they were constructed. Religion of the region, back to the cities. They even had sewage, which was very remarkable if you consider that in Europe it would be much later before they ever developed. I mean, thousands of years before they ever developed, hundreds of years before they ever developed anything like that. All right, on to religion. This religion appears to be very uniform in the region. There is some links to what will dominate this area insofar as Hinduism. There was perhaps my mother goddess, fertility gods, all the normal aspects of what you would consider to be a polytheistic faith in those images. Now, a lot of this is guesswork simply because we don't have the ability. If you skip down to written language, we do not have the ability to decipher their written language. We know that there was well over 400 symbols in that language, but we really don't know exactly what the words were, or we can't decipher all of the meanings of their writings there. All right, back up to government. This was probably a theocracy. It was probably a monarchy, and is going to follow all the same pattern trends of the other civilizations that we studied in that regard. Their trade was very thriving as they traded things like gold and silver, precious stones. They probably even used sea routes as they were located, and evidence shows navigable vessels out into probably short distances along the coast. There's even evidence that they were trading with the people we've already studied of Mesopotamia in both regards. Society, housing shows that there were social divisions where certain people in the society lived in certain parts of the city. The best parts of the city were, of course, set aside for the people who were in the upper echelons of the society. The region had developed agriculture, we find out, as early as 7000 BC. They were living in villages by 3200 BC, so you can see there's some time there. I mean, it wasn't like over the weekend, so to speak. They made several advancements in construction and infrastructure. And we also have to note that by about 1750 BC, this area began to decline, and as we might have already discussed in our class, there's not really a lot of concrete evidence as to why. Not a lot of war, not a lot of weapons found here, so maybe they were easily attacked and overrun. Maybe the rivers changed. There's evidence that maybe they manipulated the environment to the point that maybe they made the land unusable for their needs and they had to move on. Maybe there was catastrophic events like typhoons or earthquakes that could have impacted it. So really not sure, but we do identify, and we're still learning much from our searching and finding of the archaeological evidence in the area. Thanks.